Hi everyone. I got a couple of quests from 7 people about Bitcoin chart, so I'm doing one today, and I'll provide some of my comments about Bitcoin and where I think it's going to be moving in the next 1 or 2 years. So definitely Bitcoin is going to be around for a while. There's a couple of obviously arguments of whether it's going to take over a larger cap than the U.S. dollar, maybe a larger cap than Apple, and a whole bunch of ideas that can entertain the idea of Bitcoin reaching 100,000 and even to a million. Okay, we hear this a lot, especially in gold, right? Gold, as you may have seen back in 2001, people are talking about gold up to 10,000, but that never really happened. So these are just ideas. That's what creates the markets. But definitely, Bitcoin is going to be around for quite some time. Now, taking a look at the actual chart, right? Because the price action will give you the story. It looks like obviously all the people who hodled back here, the early adopters that understood how to get into the trade back here in 2019 and 2010, those are investors looking for somebody who's holding long term, 5, 10, 15 years, and they are getting paid out. Okay. Now, the people who are getting in now, they probably averaged in as it continues to move higher, and then when it pulls back, average down even more. Just reducing their cost basis. And it looks like, on the technical standpoint, on the price action of Bitcoin, it looks like it's trying to make this double top. So double tops technically are a little bit dangerous. And why we call this a double top is because back here in April, it made a move up to around 65,520. And let me see what this one did. This one made a high at 63,350, 3,525. So the double top is right around here. And usually the first attempt to break through doesn't happen. Okay, so what we are going to expect here is Bitcoin is just going to either roll over and trade flat, or roll over and then start to fill these gaps down here. Now, as I mentioned in my previous post, we had one more gap to fill in Bitcoin. So if we take a look at one of my previous Bitcoin analysis here, you can see that this is the same Bitcoin futures, and it's showing a bearish wolf wave, but we got this one gap here that needed to get taken out. So then it got taken out. Okay. And now what, right? So now it's taken out, and now what? So based on my experience, we could be in a triple top for environment in Bitcoin, which means that the price will move up here and then roll back, consolidate, and that would be technically a higher high from this point back here in July, and then make another run up on an A6. So this A6 will appear again sometime in the future, and then make another attempt to break through that 62,000. That's my assumption, okay? Because I'm making the thesis around the double top. Okay, so double tops. Somebody could obviously say this is a cup and handle, and that could be true. That could take Bitcoin from, if I use a Fibonacci extension and I say that this is the low and this is the top of the cup, and I pull it back, then yeah, I think there's a good chance that Bitcoin can run up to 68,855 with the momentum that it has right now. We won't know exactly if that's gonna happen. The double top, this could still represent a double top, and it be constructive if Bitcoin moves up and takes out the previous 52-week high here at 65,520. And the reason why is because that would indicate that price is moving higher in the future, because it has to make a higher high from this reference point. So this reference point is the previous 52-week high, and then in order for this chart to be bullish, it should take it out, not by like a lot. It's not going to go up straight to 80,000. It's probably going to get up to around this region here, and then pull back and that would be a double top still. Okay, so upside to around 68,855, and that's it. That terminates there, and then it'll chop. It could form a bull flag. You can do a launching pad setup, or even worse, it could go over and roll over and fill this gap here. That would be a high low from this point here. So that's a low here, and a higher low would take price to be around maybe a double bottom here at 40,000. Okay, so Bitcoin has a couple things going for it. It has a move up to 68,000 above a little bit. We have a 1618 extension at 68,855, and then it rolls over to then, you know, help people cost average down, right, at 40,000. And then once another A6 appears sometime in the future, it'll run it back up, okay, and that'll be triple top, and then maybe that could start the run up into the 90,000 to 100,000. So you might think that it's not possible for Bitcoin to pull back to 40,000, but anything is possible. I've seen Nvidia move up from 500 all the way down to 200. I've seen it all. Okay, you cannot ignore the fact that, you know, back in when Tesla was trading super choppy, it went up from 800 down to 200. These things can happen, but you just want to understand, you know, why is it doing that, and that could be a couple of reasons for it, which is something that I won't know. Okay, now on the weekly time frame, we have a trigger on A7 here, so there's a higher probability that the momentum is quite strong, as you got two double Bs moving up to 68,715. But then the probability of this moving higher to this next target at 93,000, it starts to diminish, okay, because we have that double top that's in play. Now the only clue that we have is to know that the pullback is more likely to happen is if it makes a higher high. A higher high will imply that price is going to move higher in the future. Then we get a pullback down to 40,000, and then it takes off to 100,000. If it doesn't make a higher high, okay, then the pullback, when it does see a pullback, will now entertain the two gaps or the three gaps all the way down to 20,000 and even maybe back to 11,000. Okay, because gaps are for real. Like somebody made those gaps on purpose and they're holding the market up on purpose. Okay, you have a buy and sell each. If there's a buyer and there's a seller and they negotiate, then there shouldn't be any transactions missing, right? Especially when you're trading Bitcoin where everything is accounted for. So gaps in theory shouldn't really exist in Bitcoin, and the futures is now showing gaps in futures for Bitcoin all the way down to 9,000. And you might argue, you might say, that's bullshit and things like that. But you have to ask yourself, like, if you're in the business of buying and selling, buying low and selling high, and you buy an inventory of like 1,000 shoes, and all of a sudden one pair of shoes is missing, maybe size 9, and you bought them all for $100 at a very low rate, at a low price, to sell them for $400, $500 to all the retailers. And then now that one box is missing, how the hell did that thing miss? Well, it could be a couple of reasons. It could be a transactional human error, right? It was missing because maybe you didn't type in the inventory properly, or somebody stole it. Okay, it cannot be something else, or maybe it got damaged. But how can something be damaged when you're promised the delivery of that product, right? As a supplier and a wholesaler. So you have to think about it in that terms. Like these gaps are here and they're created for a reason, and we never know why is it there. Okay, and it's not like Mother Nature. It's not like we can predict when a hurricane or an earthquake is going to happen. But this is not Mother Nature. This market is man-made or human-made, which means that it's done on purpose. Okay, somebody took that order out of the futures market and held it there as a marker, something that they want, that they're controlling. Everything else above it is just fun for them, money. Okay, these people who are creating these gaps are making the money. So I personally believe that these gaps are not done because of a overwhelming supply, a failure to fill each transaction on the buy and sell side. I think this is done on purpose, and there is a probability now that's gonna, well, which is starting at 1%, that Bitcoin is going to can fill this $10,000 level, and the probability of filling the 25,000 level is around 5%, and then filling this 33,000 level is around 10%. Okay, so these are asymmetric trade setups and warning signs, because the gap got filled above, which we clearly stated here. They always get filled, always, especially futures. Okay, because this is a continuous contract. Okay, these are called continuous. They're supposed to have a buy and sell for every single purchase and sell. So that's the whole point of a ledger, right? With Bitcoin, it's all about the cryptography and the accountability. So if that's the case, then why are there gaps? And it's the same thing for futures. Futures for S&P and Nasdaq, they also have gaps, and they usually get filled. Okay, so that's my analysis on Bitcoin. I do think it's going to continue moving higher in the future, but it's going to have to fill, if this is going to be sustainable and move up even higher, which I don't know if there were any gaps back here. Let's take a look at this price. Yeah, see that gap right there? See that gap right here at 8,655, and then pulled all the way back down to 4,150. Okay, so they get filled, and this run up here could be the run up right now that we're seeing, and that could be the double top, and it pulls back and fills the gap, right? And then makes a low. This one, I have no idea how you would figure that out, right? And then it takes off. So this is the conviction. You have to believe in this market to move higher, but when you believe, you have to be able to have a strong belief to hold through another market correction if it goes down to 10,000. Okay, and I'm telling you, I'm not gonna buy. You might say, well, Roger, why wouldn't you buy a whole bunch of puts, or why don't you short it? Because I said it's 1% here, 5 and 10. Okay, and I'm not taking that. Usually, if I do get into a short position, I'll probably wait for this Heikin Ashi candle to show at least the centroid of the candle being red. Okay, then you can try to entertain the idea of the trend moving lower. But you can't get into a short position now because it's still scanning on the A7 and probably scanning. It's already off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the A6. So it's about 7 more days. Within 7 days, Bitcoin is probably going to try to take out the 52-week high, and that's a good thing. That's constructive. So taking out a high, its previous high would mean a higher high, and then you get profit taking coming in, which will introduce another opportunity for people who are cost averaging down at specific levels. And then you got all your levels here at 30,000, 25, 17, all the way down to $9,000. And I just want you to know that these gaps are going to get filled in the future. It just, nobody knows when. Okay, so be a little bit careful. Be responsible with the way you manage risk. Best thing you can do here is just manage whatever you can, but don't hold a full position as it's going into a double top. Okay, that's just you can always get it back on the cheap when it does pull back. Okay, so let's take a look at some other cryptos. So here, Cardano, right? So you can also kind of try to figure out why in the hell these other cryptos are pulling back even more after Bitcoin is near its 52-week highs, and you can only wonder what's going on. But what I do notice is that they are moving off of these A6s, and that's because A6 is a Bollinger Band that's used to model human sentiment. So on the daily time frame for Cardano, looks like there's a big move setting up. It's got actually a bearish setup that could support the case for a double top in Bitcoin. Okay, and we take a look at the infamous Dogecoin. You know, at when Bitcoin was moving higher in the 50,000 range, I guess, Dogecoin was at 72, so it was a huge 72 cents and a huge pump. But how come it's not moving any higher? And maybe it's anticipating a double top in Bitcoin. Okay, and I don't know if there's any gaps in here, but this is not a futures market, so it's not really representative of a Bitcoin. I should have Ethereum here. Let's see if there's an Ethereum ETH1. Yeah. Well, look at those gaps, right? Triple top. And look at this. This one right here tried to take out the high on this attempt, but it didn't. So that would be like a dirty double top. And then this one is doing a triple top, and I don't know if it's going to take it out because it needs to take out all these gaps all the way down to 1,500. So this is just my interpretation. I just think in long-term wise, like what I wrote here in Bitcoin. I said there's a bearish wolf wave setup in Bitcoin. Okay, this is just a technical. This is a zero lag indicator that's just giving people warning signs. The target here looks like it's projecting all the way down on 32,000 by. What is this? I don't know when this date is. Let's take a look. Where did the wolf wave go? I guess it disappeared. So that's actually might be a good thing. Maybe it's just my chart. Let's go if I make a new chart layout with this. No, it looks like it's gone on this, but here we have it still showing target of 33,000. And what I said here is that, you know, the daily time frame has got a bearish wolf wave. If you connect the pivot 1 and 4 and project the line using this perforated red line, that is showing the apex reaching, I can't tell what the date here is, but maybe next year or maybe sooner, who knows, that a price target of 32,000 is achievable. But this is so that's represented the perforated line. Projected target is 40,000. I'd say 30,000 within 12 days. Okay, because here it's showing a couple of months or more. But as you may know, when the bear markets come in, they come in fast. So it could happen quick, which is better. And then it is worth noting that there are gaps in the BTC. So BTC's got gaps all the way down to like 8,000 bucks. Okay. Probabilities are really low, but they will, in some time in the future, they will get filled. There are some instances when they do not get filled. I don't know how that works. Okay, these gaps are obviously for privileged people who have a different, they're in the upper echelon in the world than us. Okay, so whoever can create, just imagine, like if you have the ability to create a gap in the market, what kind of money do you think is involved, or what kind of connections are involved to create that, to let that happen and let that allow? You're having transactions missing in the market, and who's going to be able to do that? Definitely not me. So this gap finder identifies all those gaps. These are all potential targets, and I'm just saying that long-term wise, Bitcoin could be maybe a de facto currency. It depends on how the government's going to regulate it, but it's going to be around for the long term. However, as all these cryptocurrency holders from back in 2000 experienced a nice move up to 20,000 and it pulled back all the way down to about $2,000. You're going to have to figure out if you're in the same situation as them. You bought in at 10,000 and it's going to go up to 63. So then what's the next bottom that it's going to hit? It's probably going to be 9,000, right? So the last time I hit a bottom was back here at around 2,000, right? Maybe even lower. And then this run up here, which is kind of representing this run up, will probably have another pullback that makes a higher low at 10,000 or 8,000. This is what I'm saying, and these gaps are going to get filled sometime in the future. Thank you very much and have a great day.